Oh, we live, baby. Oh,
What
I'm about
up?
to send it. I'm about to send it to some more people. Let me see.
Here you get started. It usually takes a minute.
Let me see. Let me see. Let me see. Let me see. Okay, no.
That's dope. He said, had to tune in this time. See you on the Twitter dropping gems. Appreciate that, bro.
You know what's
That's
going
real.
on, man.
That's real shit.
Yeah, I'm just sending it to a couple people. You know what I mean? Cause I don't know how. I don't know. Let me see. Let me see. All right. Oh yeah, that would be good. That would be good. Let me see. Let me see. So boom. I bet. Alright, let me see. Alright, so oh yeah, we live, baby. We live. So, oh yeah, facts. Appreciate that. So, we gonna be talking about. There's a couple creative people in here. I mean, it's geared towards y'all. You feel what I'm saying? Um, me
Eh,
and Fern cooked this up, and we
Facts.
thought it would be super beneficial because, as we said in a promo video, there's a lot of aesthetics. There's a lot of la la land advice about how to do things. It's not just if something's happening, just meditate on it. It's like, go
Right.
light an incense. It's like, no, that's not. It's like that could be helpful, but there's deeper things. So me and Ferns really and it's close to us because we're creatives. You feel what I'm saying? Um,
Right.
so we definitely want to get into that. You want to wait like 2 more minutes? 'Cause I know some more
Yeah.
people pulling up. Yeah,
Right.
now we got man. This is gonna be beautiful. The hair in this live is it for me? Facts. Long hair don't care, man. Nah,
I think,
we about to go crazy though. Facts. Go ahead, Prince.
yeah. And just beside like the whole incense and, the whole aesthetic part, I think also kind of understanding what creativity stems from, because I think going to the aesthetics, I think a lot of people think they have an understanding on what genuine and pure creativity is, right? Because they've seen it. But there's different parts of it that we're going to touch upon, different aspects of it that are going to give everyone a better understanding and
Right,
can help them reevaluate their creativity. Am I
right.
creative? What can I do to be a better creative?
Big facts, big facts. Yeah, yeah. And definitely the mental health aspect of it is very important because a lot of creatives, they end up being crazy or whatever. But we're gonna
Right.
get into that. We're definitely gonna get into that because that's a complete misconception and that's insecurity on other people and
Right.
projection. Um, but yeah, now we get started. I mean, it's 8:05, so we Gucci. We got 11 people in here. More people gonna be coming in. Um, so the first bullet that we was gonna discuss was how creativity correlates to. Oh no, you're not about to be doing that. How creativity correlates to mental health.
Right.
And it's interesting and just in life how creative people are visionaries. I was talking to someone earlier, maybe like last week, and I was telling them, all right, hold on. I don't know what the fuck. Yeah, I was telling them like, yo, because we're creative and we're visionaries, we automatically assume that people see what's in our head, right? So and we live in a world where everything's very physical, right? 3D, whatever, matrix, whatever you want to call it. If y'all know, y'all know. You know what I'm saying? So when someone can't fathom outside of what they can experience with their five senses, they automatically write it off, right?
Right.
So they'll call you crazy, or they'll have disbelief in you and stuff like that. And as a creative, having people call you crazy and having that disbelief in you can take a toll. But we're here to tell you, like, that's just normally going to happen because that's what separates you from like the normal person, right? The
Right.
person who's actually in tune with their creativity. So if you have the ability, the natural ability to see something before it's physically here, which everything was, right? If you're on this phone, it was a drawing first. If you're in a house, it was a drawing first. It was in someone's head first, right?
Right.
And a lot of people don't understand, they don't appreciate that transition from when it's literally in someone's head, then it's a drawing, then it's something physically in your hand, right? So I feel like, oh, Kanye, right? Kanye's the best example, right?
Yeah.
Dude is 100 years in the future, whether you know it or not, it doesn't matter because the truth still remains, right? So it seems like he's crazy, but he's not. He's just so far in the future that everyone else has to catch up. And he says that, he goes, what's happening now, y'all go back to my videos from like 3 4, probably longer than that ago.
Right.
You feel what I'm saying? So that's just and even with him, his, bipolar or whatever, like they tried to like put that on. They do that with all creators. It's like,
Right.
oh, as soon as they say something that's like out of the box, which the box don't actually exist, now it's, oh, they're crazy. I don't know what they're talking about.
Right.
And it's like that's if you're a creative, that's just a normal thing is going to happen because you are naturally outside of the box, right?
Right.
The box is created for people who are not in tune with that creativity. And then you really want to talk about it, right? If we really want to pod, why do you think they take away in schools the art, the music, right? Why do you think they take those things away?
Right.
Because those subjects you need, that's more creative than it is logic, which is all the other subjects, right? They take that away. So it's like the box is all you know, and you don't even understand it as outside of the box, right?
Right. Right.
Appreciate everybody that pulled up in here. Yeah. So it's like you have to understand, like, just because you're not with the crowd doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing. And you may get ostracized or whatever, but that's just, you should just know that's your own greatness because what people will do, they'll see your greatness maybe before you do, right? Because
Right.
you're just being yourself. You feel what I'm saying? So that happened. Ferns, I know that's happened to you. It
Absolutely.
happened to
Absolutely.
me damn near my whole life because I was outside the box with adults at like 11 and they was like, bro, what's like, you better stop doing it. I'm like, I
Right.
ain't about to stop doing anything. Like, I'll
Right.
figure it out. And then now look what we're doing.
Right. And I think a lot of it also comes from, well, from my opinion, it's your biological temperaments, right? So some people are actually born creative, I feel, but there's a stigma that creativity that there's a stigma that creativity is like available for anybody, right? That anybody's this creative individual. But
Mm-hmm.
for me personally, I believe that it has to do with their biological temperaments, right? How you grew up. I believe that it's rooted inside of you before you get to any level. But going back to schools, though, even the curriculums that they take out, think about how they tell you, what about daydreaming, right? Daydreaming is a big part, and imagining is a big part of creativity, right? So
Yeah.
picture from the beginning of school, of people telling you straight up, stop doing that. Stop
Mm-hmm.
imagining. Stop
Mm-hmm.
daydreaming. But even correlating to mental health a little bit more, this is more for like the people that are, I guess, diagnosed or they're having mental health issues and how they
Mm-hmm.
feel that their creativity kind of is difficult to deal with, right? Like there's creative chaos almost.
Mm.
Because anyone who's genuinely creative knows that feeling, that inner feeling of knowing that, or not knowing, I guess it's
Mm-hmm.
everyone wants to portray it to be this beautiful thing that can generate all this money, right? But they don't
Mm-hmm.
understand the way the mind works and how chaotic
Mm.
creativity can really be, and how your mind wanders in different directions at all points during the day.
Mm-hmm.
But also people who suffer from these mental health issues, their creativity is their way out. It's the way
Mm.
that they channel, right? I don't
Mm-hmm.
know if I can
Mm-hmm.
speak for many people in here, but when there's certain things that go on in the brain, sometimes they want to latch onto something. And that's where we get pleasure addictions, things of that sort.
Mm.
But how true creative people know that their mental health issues correlate with their creativity hand in hand because it has to attach to something. You get what I'm
Mm.
saying?
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Okay. So, so then at that point, the creative just needs to figure out a way to practically be crazy and creative.
Embracing it almost, you
Yeah,
know?
embracing it. Yeah, and figuring out a way for them, which is we're going to talk about a little bit later, because just like there's no one size fits all, right?
Right.
And I think that's the school. That's back to school saying, yeah, everybody's going to take the same test, everybody's going to do the same thing, they're going to take the same courses, and out the same thing is like you're not going to get graded on it by someone that may or may not even know what the hell they're doing, right? That's
Right.
that's that's not more like college, but more like, well, it depends on what degree, right? Because business degrees, those people don't run businesses, so what the hell do they know about business? But anyway, um the whole one size fits all, and what works for a said creator or said person may not work for you, right? So um uh, I probably had anxiety or like a type of mental health issue, because how I view mental health, I think it's a and I guess it could be controversial, but I believe our mind is actually stronger than what it is the problem is. It's just a matter of, can you find your solution that works for you, right?
Right.
So and how I dealt with my overthinking anxiety, I was just like, okay, well, clearly I have a million thoughts per second, right? If anyone follows me on Twitter, they know those are just the throwaways. That's not even the real right thoughts I have. You feel me?
Right.
You have to understand the creative aspects. Yeah, so it's I have a million. So I was like, okay, cool. So how I got myself out of being anxious, overthinking, I guess I had my first panic attack one time. Um, yeah, that was crazy. I mean, we'll talk about it later, but it's just understanding that I have an abundance, right? I broke down in the tweet. I have an abundance of mental energy. So realistically, the overthinking or anxiety is restlessness, right? It's
Right.
it's you're supposed to be using this, and you're just sitting there thinking about things that you shouldn't be thinking about, right? So
Right.
instead of me thinking to have all these ideas, oh my god, Charlie, perfect example. I would talk to him before I started, using Twitter as a platform, which is supposed to be used for. I used to talk to him for hours just about my ideas. You know what he said? He goes, bro, you need to tweet this.
Right.
You need to figure out how to give it to people, because what you're thinking, other people are thinking too, and you could be helping people. And
Right.
and then ever since then, I was like, yo, that was because my whole mission in life was to help the world. Like, I want to change the world. I've been saying this since it was popular. I was saying this since I was like 17 years old. Anyone that went to high school with me and was close to me, they know this. They can vouch for me. I've always wanted to do that. So now I was like, okay, how do I change the world while still being myself? I said, okay, cool. Twitter is about thoughts, right? My creative, I guess, superpower is my thoughts, right?
Right.
So I was like, okay, cool. Twitter, thinking, my thoughts, get it out to people, perfect. It went hand in hand. You
Right.
understand what I'm saying? So that was my way. Now, some people use Instagram. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, me just getting out my thoughts in tweet text form was elite. You know what I'm saying? But some people, they're very good visually, right? So they
Right.
go with Instagram. I'm like, that's dope. You feel what I'm saying? If you have figured out a way to change the world visually, that's fine. And maybe and Twitter may not be for you. You feel what I'm saying? That's the beauty about all of these. That's the beauty about
Right.
all of these things and all these creative outlets, right? It's like, oh, you're not popping on Instagram, so you're not popping. No, bro, I'm lit on Twitter
Right.
because that's what works creatively for me.
Right.
You feel what I'm saying? So,
Right.
so and understanding that it's like the one size fit all. It's like, well, if you're not lit on Instagram, then you're not lit in real life. No, time out. Most
Nope.
people lit on Instagram is not lit in real life, because
Right.
I tell them.
Right.
I not tell them, but like we converse with them. We're just like, wait, hold
Right.
up.
It's from we know from experience,
We
from
know from
speaking
experience,
with.
right?
Right.
Right, and that goes into the aesthetic, right? You have people, right? We go on Twitter, divine, celestial, third, fifth dimension. Please stop.
Yeah.
That's the aesthetic, right? Yeah. Is it gonna, bro? Is it gonna catch people off rip? Yeah, cool, like the little commercial. But it's like, but people who want real stuff is like, you don't have to put in your bio none of that.
Right.
You don't like, you want to use manifestation all damn day. It's like, I mean, I guess that's cool, but like, at what point do you now graduate to, the deeper stuff? and your intention, right? So a lot of times people, blindly follow these aesthetics because it's like, oh, well, they use manifestation a lot, so they must know what they're talking about. No,
Right.
there's a lot of people who don't know what the hell they're talking about, and they actually regurgitated from the same books and the same YouTube videos that
Right.
everybody else saw and read. So
The
it's like,
the
so go ahead.
the creativity is not the actual creativity is not their real intention. The intention is the aesthetic. But when you're looking at creativity as a whole, it speaks to the ultimate depths, right? So in reality, it's actually really terrifying. If you look about all the amazing things that have been brought up creatively, it was a testament to people's chaos, right? Think about how music has developed from time to time, right? You might listen to a 70s song and might hear the inspiration from the 70s song into a modern day song, right? But then the people from the 70s were listening to the people from the 30s and the 20s, and it goes on. But a lot of that creation was from the inner depths. It's actually pretty terrifying, and people don't embrace that side of it. They see the positive aspects of it. They see the positive side of it. They see the aesthetic.
Right.
You understand?
And
So they don't see how it becomes a part of their upbringing and how it goes back to when you're a kid, 5, 6 years old, imagining looking out the window. They don't see it that way.
and also the innovation part, right? And appreciation for the innovation, right? So now, there's a lot of opinions about the state of music right now. Now, if you're talking about like the enjoyment or whatever, it's you're gonna have a different opinion. But the simple fact that you can now make, oh my gosh, bro,
He's trying to get in on it too. He got something to say.
because he need to go somewhere else, bro. He get me tight. Even music now, just the fact that you can make music in your bed, like in your bedroom, and make several hits. You feel what I'm saying? It's like, yo, and then there's no more gatekeepers.
Right.
There's no more gatekeepers. I'm like, that in itself is a beautiful thing. Imagine having to go on tour with an already superstar for how many years, can't eat, broke, all this, and just have to hope that they put you on one day.
Right.
You feel what I'm saying? So it's like, yo, it's a whole different, at the same time, there's a lot of mid. You feel what I'm saying?
That's the problem. That's the problem with the aesthetic, is that you can't pick and choose when you want to be creative. Like, people can do creative things, but that doesn't mean they're creative people. You know, like there's different temperaments that go into it. Like, some people are maybe like, conscientious, or open. Openness relates more towards creativity, right? But it's different. It's just a whole different dynamic when being a creative person and trying to do creative things for an aesthetic. What do you say?
Yeah, nah, this is a valid question. I didn't see any other questions. Question for you both: how can the creative who has so many thoughts balancing their creative thoughts and manifest them? Well, this is the thing about manifestation. I'm glad you talked about manifestation. Manifestation only comes from what you really want. So if because a lot of people just like saying things, right? Because speaking to existence became very popular, but that's not it's a thing, but it's deeper than that. You don't have to speak anything, actually. If you just have it in the back of your mind at all times, and you're always thinking that, and everything you do is towards what you are manifesting, then you don't have to say a word. Right? The speaking it into the existence is more of a, I guess, validation, depending on what you want to do. I have no idea, but as far as you, even with manifesting, like, you'll end up manifesting every creative idea that you have, but now it's patience, right? I had tweeted, it's like, you can have all of these things, right? But if you don't have patience, you're going to give yourself anxiety, and now you're gonna be like, well, damn, my mental health, I have anxiety. It's like, no, you gave it to yourself because you wasn't being practical. You was in la la land, and you thought that universal laws don't apply. And that's the problem with all this spiritual miracle and all this stuff becoming popular. It's like, you're not getting the what's the word? You're not getting the other lessons, right? You're just getting the well, this is spirituality 101. This is manifesting 101. And then you don't go to 202, 504. You don't go to the higher levels, right? And that's
Right.
what the problem is. And that's what me and Ferns is really like, I guess tackling or emphasizing, because everybody and their moms is talking about speaking into existence, and they have no idea what they're talking about.
Right.
None. You feel what I'm saying? So a lot of people, you like myths. Yeah, and we talked about this last. Yeah, they watched The Secret on Netflix, and it didn't go deeper. It's like, yo, there's always deeper. You feel what I'm saying? There's always deeper, and you have to understand, like, yes, you have your own will, but it's still source, God, whatever. It's still that will. You're acting in accordance to that template that is laid out for you, and then the creative part and the fun part is doing it however you feel, however you're doing it, and still being yourself. You feel what I'm
Right.
saying? I have that in the drafts. That's funny. I had it in the drafts because people be thinking that they can out manifest or out trick source or out trick God, and it's like, bro, you can't trick something that you're a part of that knows you better than you know yourself.
Right.
Because like it doesn't work, right? That's when the ego comes in, right? The ego distorts you, or what you think you are instead of what you actually are, knocks you off the path of what you're really supposed to be doing
Right.
every time. And it's like, and that's a lot of things with creative people, right? You have so many people with so much talent. Somebody in the comments talked about confidence, right? And it's like, that's your ego, right? Oh, but what if everybody else think, bro, your soul is telling you to create this way. So you're
Right.
supposed to create that way. It does
Right.
not matter if someone else gets it. Most times, if you're a creative person or you're a visionary, they're not going to get it, right?
Right.
That's why people don't do things by themselves. That's why they don't build things. That's why they don't do it, right? I think Jay said fear stopped him. I'm like, yeah, but then you making music, right? You're doing the thing you love, and that's the happiest you're ever going to be, doing what you came to earth to do.
Right.
Right? It just makes sense. So that's all. Especially with my friends, I'll be trying to tell them, I'm like, yo, you have to figure out who you are so you can figure out what you're supposed to be doing. Because this whole, oh, one size fit all, like I got to do this to be lit, blah, 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 blah. It's stupid. It's dumb. Right? You could be sitting on how many people you could be. I think Russ said a lot. Too many people blew up too fast, and a lot of dope people quit too soon. Right?
Mm-hmm.
They quit too soon. Like that in itself, that OD clean your gut so you can listen to it. Facts. And definitely health. I'm on a 3-day freaking I'm on a juice fast right now, right? Lack of confidence blocks blessings, right? And the reason why that is because you're literally blocking your own spirit, because your ego is like, but what is everyone else going to think of us? Does it matter? If everyone else is insecure, and then now you're being insecure because of the projections, that's dumb twice. Like, that's dumb squared.
Right.
It's like you're listening to people who can't even listen to themselves.
Right.
And then now it's just a vicious cycle of just insecurity.
Right.
And then now what's end up happening on these insecurity is now a trend. Now it's trendy to be insecure.
Right.
I'm just like, wait, hold up. There's nothing wrong with being insecure. It's something wrong with staying insecure, and you know what you're insecure about, and you know how to get around it. You feel what I'm saying? And a lot of the times, and a lot of the dumb squared is OD, because it is.
Mm-hmm.
You should hear the other stuff I say that's dumb squared. It'll bust your noggin. But anyway, if you already know what's going, and a lot of times you being insecure is just not being honest with yourself, right? How you gonna ask you for something not aligned? Exactly. People be asking stuff they're not ready for, and then on Twitter fingers, oh my God, I deserve this. No, you don't.
Right.
Why do you think? How do you deserve something that you don't already have, or on your way of giving yourself? Right. That's when you deserve it, when you have it. Right. It's not about, well, I'm gonna speak something into existence that I don't deserve, and I'm gonna trick source into saying I deserve it. No, bro, that you're just fooling yourself. Being insecure, not honest with yourself. Wow, getting that tatted. Exactly. A lot of people, it's accountability, right? It's accountability. And shout out to Ferns. Check that. He just dropped it. Accountability. And the reason why I like, because it's a double entendre, because you're actually holding people accountable about accountability, right? Because what happens is the people who love aesthetics, they'll title it accountable, and then the whole paragraph, the whole article, there's nothing about accountability.
Right.
It's like, well, yeah, this is nice, but like, it's okay. You don't have to worry about that. No.
Right.
No, you do, because that's going to help people who want the couch of instant gratification. Exactly. Yeah. Playing trick or treat with source like that. Like you could, first of all, without source, you couldn't even have that. You couldn't even have that concept. So what makes
Right.
you, yo, it's beyond ego, right? It's like, and these are the first people tell you ego this, ego that. I'm like, but you're trying to trick source. There's nothing more egotistical than that.
Right.
There's nothing more egotistical than that. You feel what I'm saying? So this whole aesthetic of being spiritual and being positive, right? Because I've seen a lot of posts about
Or
toxic
even
positivity
creative, the aesthetic
or
of
create. Right,
creativity.
right,
Right.
right. Like, and also, if you're creative, or maybe you may not be creative, if you paint, draw, that's fine. Now, does that mean that you're supposed to be selling it to people? That's another thing about being accountable. Be honest with yourself, because
Right.
once you start asking people for money off based on what you do, it's a whole different ball game, and you have
Right.
to understand if you're ready for that, right?
Right.
You have to say you're ready for that. So it's like, are you ready for people to say, "No, that shit is trash," even though it might be the greatest thing they ever saw?
Right.
Now it's everybody so negative. It's like, no, I mean, I guess, but that still shouldn't stop you from doing anything. Because now the question is, what are you creating for? Are
Right.
you creating for yourself because you're supposed to be doing it, or are you creating for others because you want that lifestyle?
Right. And
Right?
that's what I go back to saying, that it's kind of rooted in you from the beginning, right? Because we talk about creativity is, I guess, something that you would be doing for free anyway, right? Something that you're driven by, that you'd be doing regardless.
Right. And that's the beautiful thing about life. That's what makes you happy. Doing
Right.
stuff that you were supposed to be doing in the first place, right?
Right.
And it's like, and not getting caught up in the, what do people get caught up in? This is not cool right now. This is not cool right now. My friend's not gonna like it. Newsflash: most people don't know what they want or like. They get told what they want in life.
Right.
So if now you pull up, right? That's me. If you pull up with conviction and say stuff with your chest, people are gonna like it.
Yeah.
They're gonna like it, and the ones who know is gonna respect it, right? And
Right.
then they're gonna, now it's word of mouth. That's how
'Cause
you build.
That's because authenticity wins every time.
Real always wins. Like I was bumping Nipsey last night, right? Like 5 a.m. And it's so funny because I was like, it's so funny that whether everyone in this live agree with me or not, I was gonna say what I was gonna say.
Right.
And look, for example, my mom and dad, when I told them, yo, I'm about to be an entrepreneur, I'm about to be a creative, whatever it is that people like, they was like, wait, hold up. It took them. I was like, I don't care. I'm just telling you to let you know. I'm doing this regardless. Now, mind you, they take care of me. I was in college at this time. I have no job. No, you know what I'm saying? I was like, yo, I'll live in my car. I told them, I said, yo, if you're not going to support, that's fine, because I'm still doing it for us anyway. I'm just
Right.
going to come back when it's more physical. And it's like, are you willing to create, right, for that?
Right.
Right? Are you willing to do that? Do you have the confidence to do that? Go ahead, Fern.
The thing about impactful artists too is your art is never really appreciated until way later as well. So that's one thing that real artists and real creatives need to understand, is that a lot of the times you're not going to be understood immediately. The real artists, the ones that are the most impactful, because that's what creative people do, right? Creative people change the world. And I think that's the aesthetic that people are longing for, not knowing the repercussions or some of the daily mental challenges that come with that.
Hey, I broke it down to myself. I believe I was with Charlie and in our Washington crib, and I think we was discussing. It's like, do you know how much energy it takes to change a world?
Right.
You think this shit is supposed to just happen in 2 months?
Right. And
You understand what I'm saying?
most people won't do it either.
At
Most
all.
people will try and won't, because of the overwhelming issues that come with it. But it's just like, when you're being true to yourself,
Overwhelming.
right? But when you're being true to yourself, you know that it's sure for you. You're positive in it. You walk along that straight line.
Perfect example, right? Tabitha, everybody look, that's my business, right? She set out her own mouth. It took me 30 years to get here.
Mm-hmm.
Young Thug, right? Dropped out of high school. Nipsey dropped out of high school. Lil Wayne, like all of these people. I think Lil Baby, right? Everybody, I don't know about people in here, but everybody loved that. It's like, yo, bro, these people been double down on themselves, and then you see it 10 years later. But
Right.
because they're somewhere around our age, you think that no, that's not how that works. Tabitha took 30 years to get what we need to get. Why
Right.
do you think because you started your brand 6 months ago, it's supposed to blow up? And then let's talk about it. And if it does, there's nothing wrong with that. You know what I'm saying? But if it does, all of the lessons you were supposed to learn is now you're gonna learn when it's more, when it costs more, because
Right.
now your brand is now quote unquote solidified, right?
Right.
And that's what happens. Russ says it all the time. People get rich too soon, right?
Right.
You give a stop. You give a 19-year-old whatever budget, they're gonna fuck it up. Especially
Yeah.
they don't and out the trenches, out the mud. You definitely are gonna fuck it up. You know what I'm saying? You young
Absolutely.
kid, reckless, and there's a reason why even the music industry targets these kids. Joe Budden says the music industry is predatory. Yes, yes, that's how they exploit you, right? And it goes into artists and business, right? Because we're gonna go about stigmas about creatives. Because a lot of people use that stigma to be stupid, right? I've trust me, the last year I've experienced that. They're gonna use, oh, I'm a creative, to be irresponsible, inconsistent, inconsiderate,
Irrational
right?
too.
Irrational. That's cap, right?
Right.
All you're gonna do, that's why. Like artists, I know why artists go broke. I know why they get used. And they never tell the other side of the story. It's like, no, you wasn't about business. You wasn't on your shit,
Right.
right? The most powerful person in this world, right? Well, you could be not most powerful. For you to be a very powerful person, you have to understand creativity and the business, both. You
Right.
have to understand both, right? Because if you don't, you may be the most creative person in the world. If you don't know how to make it yours, sell it, protect it, all you're gonna do is be a bitter old person talking about some, yo, I was there when that happened.
Right.
I knew them when
See,
they were growing up.
that's
Oh my God, they didn't take me. Like, bro, get on your shit.
yeah.
You feel what I'm saying? Like, why? And especially, you don't have to pay as many people, right? You balance, right? She said balance. You don't have to pay as many people. It's like, yo, everybody, oh, I want to go to a label. I want to do this. I want to do that. I'm just like, well, that just tells me that you don't do your homework. Because if
Right.
you're making music or you're doing something to get signed, that just means, and you don't already have a following or some type of support base. We don't say fans, support base,
Right.
right? Then you're doing it I already know you're doing it for the wrong reason. You're doing it for the lifestyle. Newsflash, that
Right.
lifestyle is sold to you. It's a movie. Like, I said this last live,
Right.
Chip Skylark. Remember when Timmy Turner said, yo, just drive and say, he goes, that's the record labels. Oh, what about your phone? That's the record labels. Oh, that's the record labels. Yeah, that's real. That's a real thing.
Right.
Everyone loves everybody's rapper. I'm like, Lil Wayne, we grew up on him.
Right.
Look at him. And every rapper says it.
Right.
Every rapper says it. Yo, when we look at Wayne, that shit's just crazy. What did Pusha T say? A multi-platinum artist and he can't retire. Wayne is like 40 something, bro. No, is he 40 something? It's like, bro,
He's up there.
You supposed to be over there you supposed to be doing mogul shit like Jay-Z,
Right.
Kanye. That's what you're supposed to be doing. You still in court battling $53 million because it's a predatory type of thing. You feel what I'm saying? And that's why I be telling people, if you're creative, if whatever it is that you're doing, if you do not understand the logic, right? Everyone loves La La Land. That's not real. That's not real, right? And that goes with the spiritual stuff. Is like, I say all the time, you're going to hit the ground, right? And then now when you hit the ground, now it's, oh my God, the world no, the world was fine. You was just in La La Land somewhere.
Right.
Nothing changed outside of when that happened to you, before the event happened to you, and after. Bro. My bad, y'all.
No, you good, bro.
Dude, bro. Yeah, he's a baby. He's a Taurus too. This nigga hard headed. When you hit the ground, it's only up from right. And another thing, I'm glad Jay said that. Right, mental health. Right, because another thing that I feel is very disrespectful is if people have severe these problems and it's like they now, oh, I'm sad, 2 days in a row. Oh, I got depression. It's like, bro, are we gonna being accountable? That's not depression because you were sad for 3. Go outside.
Right.
You probably drink too much. You probably eat like shit. You probably don't exercise. Try that before you start diagnosing yourself with depression. Like,
that's some real shit though.
It is, and I'm so tired of it. Oh, my anxiety is like because you were nervous, bro. Like,
right.
Because you were nervous doing something you're uncomfortable with. That's not anxiety, bro. You understand what I'm saying? Is like you're now taking away. Everyone loves to be all virtue signaling. Everybody wants to be a great person. Well, how about you actually having a actually valid standard for diagnosing yourself, right?
Right.
Because you being nervous does not correlate to I have anxiety. Like,
Right.
no, bro.
And that's not to take away from anyone who suffers from it, but it just goes back to aesthetics as well. Is seeing an increasing number of people come out about it and then following the aesthetic and then self-diagnosing yourself.
Right. And then they talk to me, they talk to you. Now it's like, wait, hold up. Wait, it wasn't that bad. Yeah, it wasn't. Right. Because then you have this thing with invalidating feelings. It's like, that's impossible. It's either you feel it or you don't. All I can do is bring it into perspective. Because once I show you the bigger picture, it's not I'm not invalidating it. I'm like, you probably shouldn't be putting this much energy into it because you're just caught up on your own bullshit. That's you're high off your own supply of negative emotions. That's
Right.
really what it is, right? And then now you want to say invalidating. No, you can't validate how I feel, Ferns. Everyone on this live, if I feel sad, you can't validate or invalidate it. I feel it. What are you
Right.
talking about? So now, why am I now walking around? You're invalidating my feelings. You're invalidating my feelings. All I hear is insecurity. All I hear is external and an addiction to external validation.
Right.
That's what I hear. So it's like, so instead of you going that route, how about you go look inwards and realize, well, what's making me insecure? Why am I insecure? Could it be around you're not around people who actually like you for you? Why am I not doing that? Because I'm not being myself. Oh, ding, ding, ding. The $1 trillion answer.
Right.
You're not gonna be able to manifest anything, have healthy relationships, romantic or platonic. You're not gonna be able to do any of that if you're not being yourself, right? And it goes back to the school of just brainwashing people into, well, if you're not like this, then it's not valid. It's like, one, you shouldn't care about that because your only job is to be yourself. We were just talking this on Twitter. Exactly, right? Even I don't pay attention to celebrity, right? There's two celebrity couples that everyone talks about for absolutely no reason. G Herbo and his girl, and Cardi and Offset. And I'm just like, y'all don't know these people, bro. Y'all are sitting here like, if my man don't do this, is your man a multi-platinum artist? Like, it goes back to accountability. Is like, or well, can you give that too? Like, Cardi can buy Offset something. You know what I'm saying? Like, they can buy Ari and Moneybag. I think Ari and Moneybag is a label thing. I don't even think that's a real relationship, to be honest. But yeah, you don't know these people. You don't have their number. You can't call them. And if you can't call them, you still shouldn't be comparing yourself because that's dumb. Because each relationship with shout out to Charlie, each relationship is special. Each one that you have with people is special. I tweeted earlier, you cannot have a one-size-fits-all with interpersonal relationships, right? So now people's like, oh, well, I love this, right? Well, I got to cut you off for my mental health. Bro, something's wrong with you. It has nothing to do with anybody else. Before you start cutting people off, make sure you're good first, right? Definitely label thing.
That's what we're talking about last live about boundaries as well, right? And how setting them actually box you off and put you in a tough position.
And then now you're in a insane asylum. It's literally an insane asylum. Right. You're like in a cycle of just like, why do you keep cutting people off every 6 months? And but also don't have any friends.
Right.
From, you know what I'm saying? Like, bro, there's out of the 20 people in here, there's 15 of my friends I've known for over 8 years. Why you're so quick to cut somebody off, but you can't produce that?
Right.
Being myself, bro, I'm the loudest. I poke holes, push buttons, all that. Right. How do I still have more friends than you trying to be the goody goody two shoes all day? I got 3 people on the phone right now telling me, yo, let's go hoop. 3 separate friend groups. You understand what I'm saying? So it's like, yo, at some point you got to be like, all right, wait. The people changed, the time changed, the situation's the same, the places changed, all of that. I'm still having the same problems. There's only one thing that is constant.
Right.
And it goes back to accountability, right? And accountability to all things and actually being accountable for yourself,
Right.
right? Being yourself. So you have to account for what's actually good for you, right? Because you see aesthetics, right? Oh, this girl is getting flown out, whatever, shaking her ass, half naked. She's miserable, bro. That's what people don't see. She's miserable getting violated. But all you see is, oh, she living her best life. No, she's not. She just has more attention than you do. That's what living your best life is, attention,
Right.
bro. But also not insecure. So which one is it? You need external validation. You're addicted to external validation. You need other people to invalidate or validate how good or bad you feel. It's still validation. But you're not insecure.
Right.
How? That makes zero sense. That makes zero sense. It's like, yo, you can't be like, if you're insecure or whatever, like, do your thing, I guess. But I'm like, but you can't live your best life and be insecure and not like yourself. You know what I'm saying? It does
Right.
not work that way. It
Right.
literally doesn't, right? And that's why we be like, me personally, I'd be like, bro, can we ban filters? Because look, right, we're talking about creativity, right? So creativity it radiates from individuality, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if everyone's using the same filters, looking the same way, what does that now take out?
Right.
The individuality. It takes
Right.
out the authenticity. Like, why do you think you only look good, right? Angles are different. That's just math.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think you only look good with something that is with a filter? Now the question is, what is it's a filter. So what is it filtering out?
Right.
These are words. I'm not making this concept up. I'm looking at, look, we all say, oh, put a filter. Filter. Well, I know what a filter is. So wait, I'm just blindly using this word and just assimilating it or just putting it into my everyday life and
Right.
just like it's normal. That's not normal, right? It's not. Identity.
Right. That's big. That's big there too.
Bro, because you gotta
Anyone
think about it. Go ahead, Fern.
anyone who's trying to manipulate their image constantly is running from something. Right?
Hello.
The more you try to manipulate or the more disguises you wear, it's clearly something that you're running from.
And the running from is, I don't like how I look, but you were born that way, so why wouldn't you? Like, what's
Right.
wrong with what you look, right? So then
Which
now it goes
it
back
brings
to external
that brings
validation.
right, and that brings you back to the original point of creativity too, which is why like natural creative people understand how passionate it becomes, and then you have people that follow the aesthetic, right? That are those three, four, and that's why we see a lot of mid, right? That's why we see a lot of
Super
a
mid.
lot of mid being posted is because creativity is the wave. So people want to come in, try something
The
for a
wave.
couple, try something, get supported by people who don't really even agree with you. Get the local support, and then what happens? And what do we see with these pages? They get 300 followers and then they die out.
Yep.
But that's
Wait,
not authentic. That's not creativity. That's wave riding. There's a bunch of
and
people
that's
just
not
wave
long
riding.
term, right?
Right.
And it goes back to being accountable. Are you a person who suffers from instant gratification?
Right.
Like, bro, like all of these things that we talk about on Twitter, right? Discipline, delayed gratification, long-term patience. As far as I understand, everyone in here is under 30. So why are you in a rush? You're in a rush to do what?
Right.
What are you in a rush to do?
Right.
You're in a rush to be, I guess, bored. I don't know. Like, why not build something where you're literally doing whatever you want every day you wake up?
Right.
Like, and it's fun. You want to do it, right?
Let,
I feel like that's more important. And a legacy, right? Because we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna integrate this because there's a lot of bullshit going on. Masculinity, right? We are men, right? So family and legacy is naturally important to us, right? So any women in here, you had to understand this about men. It is not all about you. It is two people, right? Friendship, whatever. Understand that men and women, men in here, understand that first of all, the greatest creation is us, and it takes two of us. But anyway, yeah, you have to understand each other and work together and stuff and be ourselves together, right? In
right.
all relationships that you do, right? You need to do that so you can build something. It doesn't work any other way. It
Right.
doesn't work any other way. Compatible with the wrong people should compete with self. Right. Right. And not ignoring the red flags, right? If you're not compatible with somebody on that level, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
It doesn't make you a bad person. You feel what I'm saying? Because I know there's this movement of nothing's bad, like everything is bad unless nothing's bad unless you agree with me, right? There's that. Like, well, if you don't, I guess creativity. If you don't eat language, especially English language, could be the most creative language ever because in English is really no consistency with English. It's like,
Right.
yeah, depending on the situation, it'll change up, and it's like that's why English is actually the hardest language to learn, and that's why they're trying to force English on every fucking body because actually English doesn't even unlock certain parts of your brain. Other languages do. That's a different conversation. But anyway, you can use language. So now you have Twitter. You got Twitter jail. You got the community guidelines. It's like, so who's picking how we're choosing to create,
Right.
right? We're creating right now.
Right.
So because
On
someone
our own
doesn't
terms as well.
on our own terms, right?
Right.
So now why are we giving these social media apps and why is it okay for them to now limit our creativity because it may offend somebody?
Right.
Bro, do you know how many people are offended by other things? So basically we can only take offense seriously if it's to a large group of people.
Right.
Do you know how offensive it is for people to say dumb shit all day to me? Do you see me out here? Oh my God, I'm offended. No, bro.
Right.
Get over yourself. Like, it shouldn't bother you. Hold on. Go ahead, friends.
Yeah, that's big.
It is. It is because it's like, yo, it's like creativity is the wave, but only on certain people's terms. And
Right.
then so that's not creativity.
It's not. It's
I
limitation.
don't know what that is.
Yeah, I don't know why they filter it to that level, but it's like that's why as far as creating goes, like we create to create change, to open portals, right? When other people create, I don't know why. I don't know what is it because the aesthetic of being because I can tell you being a creative individual has been the most hectic thing in my life. Being a creative has been the most detrimental thing to my mental health as well. But it comes with it because I look at it kind of as like a hidden superpower, right?
Yeah.
Certain times, like the way that my brain is wired, I like to have that attached to my creativity, right? But then again, sometimes our rational mind is so critical over the things that we want to create that it's impossible for the creator to just create simply.
Yeah. 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 Especially with around a bunch of people who don't even tap into that part of their brain, right?
Right.
They're only, and it's funny too because you'll say that they're tapped into their rational mind. They can only tap into their rational mind, and they don't even tap into that realistically.
Right.
And that's the whole conversation for another day. But yeah, I back to your point about me. What helps me be creative and that pressure, I'm just like, well, this pressure is making a diamond, and I just keep telling myself
Absolutely.
that. I'm just like, no matter what, like it's so etched into my brain. I don't even need the affirmation. You feel what I'm saying? Because some people have, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, we
Nothing wrong with
spoke
that.
about that. Yeah,
our last slide, we definitely spoke about that. It's like it's so etched in my brain. I was like, nah, this is what's in the lab. Like, okay, now I'm about to work on my 3-pointer. Something happens, okay, now I'm about to work on my jab step. Something happens, okay, now I'm about to work on my finishing. That's how I go about it. So it's like it's just pressure, and it's like and to the point where it's like I'm kind of addicted to it. Like I love it because I know the pressure is gonna transform me, right? So part of being a creative innovator, right, visionary, because there's even in creativity, right, there's certain references that are different, right? An artistic person may not be the innovator, you know what I'm saying? But they're both creative,
right?
You know what I'm saying? And then you have some people, yeah, he going to sketch because he did something. You have some people who can do all of them, right? Those are people like us, how we can do it all, you know what I'm saying? And that's why we're the rarity, you know what I'm saying? That's why that's why we're actually going to change the world, or at least spark someone as however it happens, it doesn't matter.
Or however long it takes.
Yeah. Gluck just, or how long it takes, right?
Yeah.
Gluck just said people don't understand that stress is not automatically a bad thing. That's a fact.
But that's going back to what I was saying about a hidden superpower, right?
Yeah.
Because let's take Kanye, for example, right? With the bipolar tendencies, right?
Mm.
Without the proper diagnosis, do you think he would be with who he is today without knowing the challenges and hurdles he's had mentally?
I'm gonna go ahead and say, I mean, it's that's a tricky thing because to me, I feel like that stifles him because he's constantly worried about that. It's just the bipolar talking. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So it's like, and I think that could hinder him depending because that's what Kanye literally says. He goes, "Me being bipolar is a superpower," and it's like so many people didn't get what he was saying. He was
Right.
talking about alchemy. He was like, okay, I got this. How do I make it work for me? And I'm not going to hold you. Me personally, I think Kanye West is the biggest alchemist I've ever. Bro, he turns whatever we give him, and artists will, because I watch a lot of interviews on actual artists in the industry, and he goes, bro, if there's one thing Kanye can do, he can make shit turn into gold. I'm like, I think, and you may disagree, and that's what comes with maturity, right?
Right.
You may disagree with what he says, but take the tools, right?
Right.
There, you can learn something from Kanye, bro. How to just make things just flip it into
Right.
how he wants it, or flip it into how you know what I'm
Right.
saying.
That's big because for anyone listening, for any misfortune that you guys have, someone else can capitalize on that and make something out of it.
Boom.
It's as simple as that.
I'm on live. It's just paper. I'll sweep it up. Look, Dom saying he's a genius. Respect, low key. Yes, he is. Like people don't
High
even
key.
know.
High key.
People don't high key. People don't even know what genius is. They think, first of all, if unless you were a genius yourself, you wouldn't understand a genius.
Right.
So if you can't figure out that he's a genius, that probably just means you're not one, and that's
Right.
okay. But you can't just. That's what Kanye says. We have to respect greatness when it's here. He said that. Kobe. Everybody thought Kobe was this, that, and the other. When he passed away, everybody in the mom was like, "Yo, I realized what he was doing for me. He's passed now.
Right. But
That's the
that's the goes to
problem."
show like art as a form is never appreciated until years later. That's why you can't get so caught up in where it's going in the present moment. As long as you're just channeling what's for
Yes.
you,
Yes.
it always comes full circle. Like you're doing
Every
it's
time.
every creative knows it's for the future. It's everlasting, you know? And a lot of
And
people,
then
the instant gratification kills me because it's like, what are you really leaving behind? You know, that's the part that keeps a creative person up at night. Try to have a creative person work a 9 to 5 and try to tell a creative person what to do daily. It's torture. It's
yo,
impossible.
I literally what just happened to me, bro. Like it's so funny too because I have problems at jobs because I'm an innovator by nature. I'm a solution based person.
And
But
they don't you don't benefit from being in that position because they're
nope.
not looking for innovators or creative. They're looking for order and structure, right? And there's
And,
nothing
and
wrong with that. But it's just for a creative person, it's not a place for us to strive.
and people like us is like, but this order is dumb.
Right.
And
But
it's
think
like,
about how
well,
that
what do you
makes us
mean?
think about how that makes us look lazy.
Yeah,
You understand?
lazy. Wait. What's the word? Lazy.
Undisciplined.
Unruly. And
Yeah.
it's like if only you understood, I'm way more disciplined than you because you're only doing this because you can see something,
Yeah.
right?
Dom said
Which
that
one's
goes
more disciplined? The
he said,
person who can't see it yet but still does it every day, or the person like, well, I have to do it because it's here now.
right, right. Dom said that that goes all the way back to schooling too. But that's the real truth of it is because how did schools measure creativity? They didn't. They measured order and discipline, right? And structure. So anyone who was outside that norm was not considered a good student, right? But how do you really
Right.
what are ways we measure creativity, right? How can you measure creativity? Unless you're a creative individual, you really don't know. I could ask everyone in this live right now, right? What are some things you can do with one brick, right? What could you do with one brick? Is that can we determine people's creativity from that?
I mean, no, honestly, and this is what again, Kanye. I'm gonna keep it because again, the thing about free thought, right? It's you measure creativity by how many new things you can bring to whatever it is.
Right,
So it's like, wait, so now you're like, wait, hold on. And in the years that I've known you, you've always brought something new perspective. So then now that's how you
right,
would, to an extent, measure creativity. But
right.
like you said, it's not at a way where you can put a number or a grade on it, right?
It doesn't even correlate much with IQ either. It doesn't.
Dom stupid. Dom said, "What kind of brick we talking?" That's a fact, though.
See, but that's creativity, though. See, that's
That's a fact.
creativity. That's creativity
That's a
right there.
big
That
fact,
that
though.
response is creative. That's what I'm talking about. Like,
Super, because I wasn't thinking that, bro.
exactly, exactly.
Look, uh, but yeah, nah. And I heard something today that fits into schooling. We learn about everything under the sun in school. I heard something today that fits into schooling. I'm not sure what that means. But yeah, and even that, it's not even. But there's nothing how to learn about yourself exactly because it's all
Absolutely.
distracting you from yourself.
And this is the difficult problem with creative individuals is like their outlet is not really it's not really emphasized in school, right? So it's
Mhm.
like going back to before, I used to get in trouble for daydreaming, right? But had the teacher like really got to know me, she'd understand that I really had a good imagination and loved The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. You feel me? And shit
Yeah,
like that. But during math, I didn't want to sit there and do that shit because to me it's limiting. You feel me?
yeah,
There's no way that I can be creative in this without learning the right way to do it. And to me,
yeah.
the right way has always been torture because there's the right way and then there's my way,
Right.
right?
And
But
that and your way is valid for you.
exactly. But
And,
that
and
does,
you know it's funny too because this is just to go on because look what we're doing right now. I used to get in trouble for school because I was creating with my voice. I was like the class clown, but the thing is, I wasn't a clown. I usually had the highest grades in the class.
right,
So the teacher was always just like, "Well, what do we do?" It's like because you can't do nothing with me. It's like I'm out here entertaining everyone else, but still have higher grades than everyone else,
right,
right? And I played sports, so
right,
I was the enigma. They was like, bro, what? Like, how are you doing this? I'm like, because none of this is hard.
right,
You were told it's hard and you believed it.
right,
I said, we'll see.
right,
Oh, yo, that's hard. We'll see.
right.
Everyone
Think
tells me something's hard.
right. Even going back to that, think about how creative talents, right, create entitlement. Because having the skill and the talent is not enough. I'll give you an example. Like there are artists, maybe even in here, that really can belong into the museums the museums in
Oh, absolutely.
France, all of that, right? But it just goes to show that it's not the same caliber. There has to be balance within everything, right?
Mm.
So
Oh, we got 2 minutes left. So,
right, create when you're running through creativity, how well are you able to monetize that as well? You know,
hey, and let me tell you how slippery these folks are. It's so interesting how art goes up when you die. So then who's getting the bread?
right. Well, that's how you determine how.
You feel me? So it's
I
like,
read that somewhere. It's like the way to determine the real impact of an artist is to wait 200 years after they die. That's how you tell. That's how you can see who's solidified or not. Right.
that's a fact.
Discipline definitely outweighs talent in all aspects. Because
And it's
the
great if you
talent is
have
not
both.
enough. The talent is not enough because I see
Yeah.
talented people that are self-absorbed, that are entitled, that don't want to take that next step forward. Right. But it's different. It's difficult. It's like
Oh,
people who are like for example, creative people are not great with direction, right? They're not really great
mm.
with structure. So if you are a creative person, you might have to link with someone who is good with structure, right? There's people that are good in administrative roles, who are good
Hey,
at
hey,
power, who are
hey,
good
we
at
got to go live again. Look, I think they asking for part two. We might have to do that.
just keep it running.
If you would it, if you would it.
Let's
You
go.
know what
Let's
I'm
do it.
saying? I know.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
bet. Yeah, I'm about to post this one because this one's great. This one was lovely. Eric, thank you for pulling up. We about to go part two real soon. Um, but yeah, structure and that's it's so funny because me personally, I don't. It's not that I don't like structure. Now I appreciate it, but I need to be with someone that also is good with that too because
Right.
I won't go all over the place, but I'll just like you're gonna see when we get there, and that's the type of
Right.
person I am. But yeah, we about to go with part two though.